Welcome to the Shifter, everybody. I'm Will,
And I'm Matt.
and now I'm wearing a CVS shirt. Also, today, we had Throwback Weekend. We had Darlington, and man, oh my God, it delivered. I mean, I don't even know how else to start the show by just saying this race ruled. We'll get to it later, but does it really get better than this in NASCAR?
Uh, Unless you count last week at Kansas, no.
Yeah. But let's just jump right into it, Matt. I'll kick it to you for the rundown of stages one and two.
Also, background, we got some throwbacks. He's got the Brad Keselowski 2010, and I've got the Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, probably circa late 90s, judging by the fire suits. Um,
It took every fiber of my being. Also, my guess for that one is that look what's that? Do you think that's 2000?
Either 2000 or 99 because of Pepsi, because Gordon was
Okay.
a Coke driver through 98.
Oh shoot, I forgot about that. But yeah, no. So I think this just because I don't know. This is anyway. That's not even the point. Point is, it took every fiber of my being not to have my background be Brad Keselowski's dad yelling at Carl Edwards.
I thought you were gonna put his butt back there, judging by your past
What
behavior.
butt?
You look. I.
Denny has a badonkadonk, and that's why I put it
Oh,
back there.
Speaking of butts, Clint Boyer accidentally circled one of Brad Keselowski's pit crew members' butts when he was trying to circle a man in the stands. And he had what looked like a brown stain on his pants. There were some interesting moments in the broadcast, but we're going to get to the race first. We'll get to that.
There's some
Um,
interesting moments in the broadcast. Oh, Christ alive, yeah.
Lots of no cap and susses being said. Yes, that was said
Why
on
is
a
Mike Joy better at Kevin Harvick's bit than Kevin Harvick is? Why is he funnier with it than Kevin is?
man.
It's not Kevin's fault.
Kevin Harvick's still the best thing they've got right now. So
I mean, aside from Mike, because Mike's been awesome this year.
yeah, aside from Mike, except for today, oddly enough, he was not good today.
Was he?
Throughout the
I
race.
see this. This is another race where unfortunately I did not get to see the majority of it because I was indeed at work, but I was
I'll
tuning for
get
the
to
finish. I can't wait to talk about it. So Matt, take it away for the bulk of the race.
yes. Before we get into the race, the winner of the NASCAR Xfinity race was Justin Allgaier, and I bring that up because Dale Earnhardt Jr. owns his car. He
Also,
also
just
used to,
how do you not love Justin Allgaier, man? I mean,
most. Also, the win gave him the most top tens in Xfinity Series history, passing Kyle Busch. And the win
wow.
also he passed boss man Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the all-time Xfinity win list. Happy that he's got a good Xfinity career, but you have to wonder if he was given a better Cup shot, what would have happened? Because
Yeah,
I
it's
think we're
really
kind
hard
of
not to look
past
at him
that
that way.
hill now. But getting into the race, stage one, Tyler Reddick qualified on pole. Front row right beside him was Brad Keselowski. Those two would be players throughout the entire race. But for the most part, we had a lot of comers and goers as I come off the screen. But as we go into this, are you causing a commotion?
Oh.
Okay. But as we go into this first
Emily
stage,
will be able to watch this show.
yes. Oh, so I don't forget at the end because I was gonna do it when we do the sponsor thing. But happy birthday, Emily, because
Happy birthday, Emily.
as we
I'm
were
sorry that you haven't been able to watch the show because of me. It's been all my fault. Certainly not Matt's fault at all.
man, enough stuff is blamed on me. Just take this one,
Yeah, I'll
even though
take it.
it's okay. But
Happy
happy
birthday, Emily.
birthday. Yeah, so her birthday's in 3 minutes. So getting into this race, starting off, Tyler Reddick rocketed off, taking an early lead, and that didn't really change until the pit cycle. Up at the front at this point, you had Tyler Reddick in first, Brad Keselowski in second, still Ty Gibbs, who was very impressive all day in third. And you also had Kyle Larson in fourth. And throughout the pit cycle, Ty Gibbs actually took the lead. Again, that fast Joe Gibbs Racing pit crew that has just been like a constant in NASCAR since the 2010s. Even though like statistics are weird on who the fastest pit crew are, different sites have it reported as the 14 team for Stuart Haas.
Yeah, yeah,
Others
yeah, yeah.
Others say it's the 9 team, and then others say it is that 54 team. So I don't know what is true, but the point is, though, Joe Gibbs has always had really good pit crews. I remember back in the day, it used to piss me off because I used to be a Kyle Busch hater. I'm not now, but that 18 team was always on it. But
Well, there's one of the metrics. This might be the one that says it's the 14 crew, doesn't it? Just aren't isn't the one for them that it's like net positions gain, so it doesn't necessarily. I don't think it factors in like no. I think it says net position gain on four tire stops.
Yeah, I think that's one of them. But like the big debate was at Texas when Chase Elliott won. The Hendrick posted that was the fastest four tire stop in like the history of the one lug, and but Stuart Haas said that they had one faster last year. It was like a debate that was ongoing. Which one was right? Because NASCAR posted that it was Chase Elliott's, but they
Well,
might just be
of course
posting
they
that. We'll
did.
get
Anyway,
your driver did good today. Your driver did good
yes,
today.
he did. Oh my God, yes.
But it's not time for that yet. He'll be in the top 10 rundown because he's not getting any special privileges on the show.
I don't think your driver's going to be in the top 10 rundown,
He was close. Um,
but he wasn't there.
he ran like 30th all day. I'll take a 12th. But you made me lose my place. Ty Gibbs has the lead after the pit cycle, but Kyle Larson in the throwback of the week, that beautiful Terry
Oh my
Labonte
God, yeah.
Kellogg's cornflake scheme, took the stage win, and you're thinking, oh no, another Kyle Larson masterclass. But that's not what happened because the 5 team was very bad on pit road today. They would lose 4 spots. He'd be relegated to 5th. And the story of the race, for the most part, until we get to the final stage, is the qualifying session that Tyler Reddick won the pole barely over Brad Keselowski. Because all day that 45 team was on it, and that number 1 pit stall, even if they made a slight slip like they did on the first stop with the air hose getting caught, it still let the 45 team out in that Tim Richmond throwback, which is really random because he only won a Daytona qualifier in that car and only ran one other race.
Yeah,
But
but awesome car though.
yeah, awesome car. Would have been nice if your driver would have participated. But
Had to be a weird thing with McDonald's and them being weird about it. I don't understand how that.
still better than Penske. Penske didn't participate at all. But we'll get to Penske in the stage actually because stage 2 started off with some chaos. William Byron made a 3 wide move going into 1 and 2. It was
He
very hard
sure
to
did,
pass.
didn't he?
He did. But this was because on the restarts, guys were driving a little crazier than they normally do at Darlington. Because with the next gen car, even though it does work very well on the mile and a half and this egg shaped oval of Darlington, that's like 1.3 miles. Um, Dirty air is still a thing in
It
modern
always will be.
NASCAR. It always will be. But so drivers take a little bit more liberty than they used to. As Terry Labonte, who was in the booth for stage 2, said that you would have gotten slapped across the mouth if you would have done that in his era. Going 3 wide at Darlington. So William Byron goes in 3 wide under Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney and shoved Ryan Blaney into the wall and gave Martin Truex Jr. lots of damage. It ended Ryan Blaney's day. Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, and Kyle Larson, and as well as Chris Buescher, also got a little bit of damage. So yes, Will, Bubba Wallace was technically involved in a crash this week. So I'm keeping the bid alive because he sideswiped Kyle Larson on the way by. They made contact, and I'm keeping the bid alive. I don't care if
Yes,
he
I
comes.
heard all of that. I wasn't adjusting my headphone or anything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ignore that. I thought you were just gonna hop back in and pretend like you knew what I was talking about.
No, no way. But
Okay,
continue.
but Ryan Blaney. Oh, what I was saying is I will continue the Bubba Wallace bit because he did make slight contact in this crash. So it's been 4 weeks in a row that your driver's been
Whatever.
involved in a row. The same amount of times Dale Jr. won Talladega in a row one time. Still more wins than your driver has. Don't bring up the petty 23-11 thing, even though it's a very valid argument. Okay, so Ryan Blaney would come off pit road. He was trying just to show his displeasure with William Byron, but he got caught on the apron a little bit and almost went up and hit the 24, but luckily he got back down.
Yeah, that was
Also,
going to be a major disaster.
yeah, and they might have suspended Ryan Blaney, judging by NASCAR's recent disciplinary policy.
Oh
But
my God, yeah. If he would have plowed him under caution, even as an accident, oh my Lord. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they would have sat him for at least a race. Yeah.
yeah, I still don't think that's as bad as like what Bubba and Chase got suspended for, the turning head on into the wall thing. That's never
Can
okay.
we finally talk about how, like, don't get me wrong, what Bubba did was wrong, but like people, like, I'm sorry, they're not the same. Like Bubba hooked him, but like it wasn't like he hooked him directly into the wall. Like what he did was crappy, but that's an okay
Uh,
word.
it is. I think you need to go back and watch the clip, man, because the like direction that Larson took from the wall is like
Yeah, but
Larson's on the apron. At least Denny's like closer to the wall. I know the angle's not as bad, but
that
Bubba
makes it
definitely intended
worse,
for
man.
it to be.
That makes it so much worse. You have less time to break, man. Denny went to the wall head on full speed.
Bubba Chase went all the
Our
way to the
drivers have
apron.
never done anything wrong, is the point.
I mean, Chase definitely got put in the penalty box for that one deservingly. And as I recall, before this, you were a Tony Stewart fan, correct?
I don't want to talk about Daytona 2006.
My driver, the only one that we really, have evidence that he intentionally crashed was a woman beater, and the other one may or may not
Trap
be on the
squat.
Epstein list.
Well, I mean,
His
he
wife.
potentially wrecked Kyle too, so which Kyle did not intentionally wreck him, or did he?
Y'all see that video eventually. All right. So stage two. Uh, then we had another crash with John Hunter Nemechek in the restart zone. Me and Will had a bit
Yeah,
in high school about John Hunter in the
sure
restart zone.
did.
Actually, I think that was a little after high school.
Which, by
But
the way,
that's
guys, we're not in high school.
I'm in middle school.
Yeah,
God,
you
that joke
wish, you
ruled.
creep.
Huh? You all
You
right,
still
man?
listen to Drake. I know that.
You wanted to put. I actually have never really listened to Drake that much.
Yeah, I'm proud to say
But
that I haven't either.
yeah, but you want to put a Diddy song in one of our videos, so it's all right. All right. So
It's not Diddy's song. It's Nas.
who produced it? Who's featured on it? Who wrote it?
All right, so we go to stage three.
No, we're not in stage three yet. We didn't even talk about who won stage two.
Oh
Hold
my
your
God,
horses.
oh Lord, whatever.
Well,
I
Tyler
mean,
Reddick
it'd
ran
be
away
the.
with the stage.
I was
Tyler
gonna
Reddick,
say,
Tyler Reddick would run away with the stage and win it. I'm gonna take you to the beginning of stage three, and then Will gets to do the fun part. So,
yeah.
the beginning of stage three, it looked like Reddick was gonna run away again here. If I could stop stumbling over my words. But then Brad K was coming with a lot of speed and took the lead, going into the pit cycle. But coming out of the pit cycle, Ty Gibbs would again have the lead because he's short pitted. But Brad would make quick work of Ty Gibbs. Kyle Larson would spin out, throwing the caution, and then Tyler Reddick would win the race off pit road.
Okay, so this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of this race because we have the restart, and then what could have ended up as the winning move of the race. Chris Buescher takes the boys three wide, takes the lead. I mean, and also, by the way, another thing about this pass, probably Clint Boyer's best piece of commentary that I've heard.
He was very good today
Yeah,
throughout the
Clint,
entire.
everything I got to hear of Clint because I got to see the majority of the end of the race that was at work. But I don't know, like it just
He
felt
wasn't fixing
natural
a
with Clint
shower
there.
this time, guys.
I wasn't fixing a again, not a euphemism. That shower still is not done, by the way. We had other personal things happen. It's unfortunate.
Well,
Point
now you
is,
know why he will not be watching the All Star race, guys. He will be fixing a shower. That's his excuse. He's preparing that for next week.
so Chris Buescher makes this insane three wide pass for the lead, right? And from that point, we have our field set. We think, at least. We think this top three is going to come down to Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, and Chris Buescher. And it doesn't become a two-car race, but I mean, the battle for the lead becomes, it's its own thing. And then you have Brad, who is there, who's waiting in the wings. So it's Tyler Reddick, and he's sizing up Chris Buescher. And they again, the broadcast did an awesome job at this point, kind of teeing up like, oh, like almost building anticipation, like, oh, look, he's going lap by lap, he's getting higher just to build this run. Guys, watch, he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. And then he does. He makes a move going into 3 and 4. Tyler Reddick kind of tries to pull the slide job on Chris Buescher. It seemed pretty clear to me from the broadcast angle, even, and then Tyler ends up saying this later on, but he goes to make the move, and then he realizes that my guess is that I think Buescher probably drove it in the corner pretty hard, given the fact that he got into the wall before Reddick even touched him. I think that was partially him driving in the corner hard to try and fend off Reddick, partially him trying to give Reddick room. So Reddick takes his hard dive in at 3 and 4, and he comes up, squeezes Buescher. Buescher slaps the wall, comes down. They get together, go back up into the wall. Which also, by the way, another factor of the pass for the lead that Buescher made was that also there ended up being contact between Keselowski and Reddick there. And I'm trying to remember, was Reddick on the outside for that one? Was it Reddick
Yeah,
that got
Reddick was
squeezed
on
in the
the
wall?
outside because Brad squeezed him in the wall
Yeah,
a couple
yeah,
times.
yeah, yeah. Brad squeezed him into the wall. That's right. So they maintain the lead, but they both have problems. Reddick cuts a tire. Did Buescher? I know
Buescher
Buescher
cut a left rear.
falls. Yeah, Busher also got a tire, so that paved the way for Brad to sweep through. And it seems like Brad's going to walk away with the win. He doesn't quite run away and hide, though, because Ty Gibbs shrinks that gap. But
And who else?
what?
There's another car right behind Ty Gibbs that was shrinking that gap too.
I like Beeline. I remember
Get a chance to
Ty.
talk about a Stuart Haas car, and you didn't do it. Josh Berry.
Oh, that's right. Josh Berry was sitting right there. I remember thinking that. No, but I mean, again, to be honest with you guys, like the majority of the race I got to watch was looking down at the phone, looking up, making sure people weren't around. So, you know, I apologize. But they shrink the gap, but not enough. It's to no avail. Brad Keselowski finally ends the winless streak. It's cool because
110 races.
yeah, 110 races. They cut to his radio, and you hear him ask for the American flag. So you're gonna get the classic Brad burnout with that. And then as it was not long after he got the American flag, there's a ruckus on pit road because Chris Buescher, who by the way, Chris Buescher's a big dude, isn't he?
Yeah,
Compared to
the
Tyler
Texas
Reddick, who
Stallion.
is a leprechaun.
Yeah, I mean, well, Chris Buescher just did an entire interview about how he eats a full 30-ounce steak before every single race.
What? I did not
Yeah,
see that.
yeah. So RFK socials. RFK does a great job with social media, probably the best out of
They
any
do.
NASCAR team. But him and Brad were doing your pre-race meal type interview this past week, and Brad said he just eats a simple ham sandwich, and then Chris Buescher was like, "Yeah, I eat a 30-ounce steak," and then Brad turned and said, "So you're just looking at your crew before the race and said, give me some of that steak." That's what you tend to do
That's first off, that's crazy. Second off, yeah, this big 30-ounce steaking boy, he just walks up to poor Tyler Reddick
from
and just
Prosper, Texas, population of however many Rick Allen said.
less than 30,000 people in attendance here at Richmond because it was Richmond. Anyway, point is he goes up, gives Reddick a good little shove, and it seems like there's going to be a skirmish, but Busher respect. I know people are probably going to say "Oh, this is a NASCAR fight. A crew member got in the way." Busher gave Reddick a chance to hit back, and then Reddick didn't, and immediately started explaining himself and apologizing. So I actually respect Busher for not flying off the handle even worse. Um,
Reddick dropped an
but
F bomb, caught it on television.
uh, yeah, that was the other thing. This is a very, I know they had to apologize for it, but this, I don't know. Reddick pretty much just said, "Hey, man, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't I think one of the things he said is I care less about my car. I know I messed up your car." And the line that legitimately NASCAR is going to use to justify the playoffs forever and that they're going to use to market the playoffs is Chris Buescher yelling, "I don't have one of those stickers on my car yet. This means a little bit more to me." And I don't love the playoffs, but ooh, that was a good piece of TV. So yeah, that happened. Brad finishes burnout. He does the interview. I don't actually remember his daughter's name, but he lifts his daughter into the car, drives her to victory lane. Um, and yeah, that being said, that's the end of the race, Matt. If you want to give a rundown of the top 10 real quick before we just get into kind of discussing the finish and how awesome in general Darlington is.
All right, guys, let's see. I did it very successful last week. I promise I've not looked at the NASCAR app or anything. This is just totally off my head. First place was Brad Keselowski, again breaking the 110 race winless streak. Second place, Ty Gibbs, again the bridesmaid, not the bride, but he will be the bride very soon. And trust me, he will be the bride a lot. He will be putting up Hugh Hefner numbers with the amount of wins he's going to get. Sorry, I couldn't think of somebody off the top of my head that'd been married a lot more. Emily's not going to know who Hugh Hefner is, so that's going to be okay. In third place, Josh Berry, his career best run. I know he got second something for Chase Elliott last year at Richmond, but to me, this is more he ran up front all day
Yeah,
instead of
this his team, his car. Yeah.
yeah, and then he didn't luck into it. He ran there.
Yeah.
Fourth place was Denny Hamlin. Calm yourself. Denny had a very quiet day, but did lead a lap on a pit cycle to keep his 17 race streak of leading the lap alive. Coming home in the fifth position. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. This is going to be the tough one. Can I do it? Chase Briscoe was fifth. 2 Stuart Haas cars in the top 5. How about that? I remember that because I was following the cut line points battle, which we'll get to at some point here. In 6th place was William Byron. 7th place was Bubba
Bubba
Wallace.
Wallace.
His first top
Yes.
about a month. Finally, the 23-11 team and that 23 team gets one of the runs that they deserve with Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
He will be fast in Charlotte here in a couple weeks, and will be fast and probably win the All Star Open. Him or Ty Gibbs in North Wilkesboro because we actually have a stacked All Star Open lineup, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
that when we get to the All Star race. In eighth place, Alex Bowman, another solid run, top 10 of them to death, keeping his playoff cut gap at about 50. Ninth place, probably the story of the race if all the crazy stuff didn't happen. Justin Haley in a Rick Ware racing car.
Justin freaking Haley, man. Oh my God.
And by the way, guys, he ran about 13th to 15th this entire race. I know he got a few positions because of the Busher Reddick stuff, but he ran here. And in 10th place for the second straight week, this team's finally starting to get some momentum. Michael McDowell, who was in the news this week. This is a good segue here because we do have to talk about
Yeah,
McDowell for a
we
second.
we got actually a good bit of midweek off-season type stuff to talk about.
But McDowell will be moving to Spire in the 71 car, and it seems like Trackhouse will be acquiring a third charter, I guess, for Zane Smith because that is a
Yeah.
loan over there. But Michael McDowell will be leaving to go to the 71 team. And also, speaking of Trackhouse for a second, just Ross Chastain is actually in danger. He's only got his gap has been cut to 40 points. If they keep running like they are, he will not be comfortable for a lot much longer. And Daniel Suarez is just falling off the face of the earth. He was ran 34th most of this race. I think he came back and got 24th, but it was so bad. Daniel Suarez made an apology video to his fans for their performance over the last month.
Yeah, and I also want to say, talking about Justin Haley getting the top 10, I really want people to talk the same way about that they love to talk about. I think Harrison Burton finished. Didn't he steal an eighth place?
Yeah,
Something like that.
last year, and he ran like 15th, I think, the entire race.
Yeah, like I was about to say, like I remember people kind of touting that and say, like, no, see, there it is with Justin Haley, even though like they like that race I actually did get to sit down and watch the entirety of. Justin did not run there, but like um
Harrison.
Harrison did not run there, but like due to some accidents and some pit cycles, I believe he not some pit cycles. How did he get into the top 10? I can't remember.
The big
Doesn't
one,
matter.
the big one that happened at the end.
That's right.
Also, I need to talk about the other Rare racing car for a second because he was not left out. Kaz Grala actually finished 18th in this race, so just a great all around day for Rick Ware Racing. But
But that being said, again, I really want people to give a lot of credit to Justin Haley here because people were really quick to give Harrison Burton a lot of credit last year. And like Matt said, Justin, yeah, ran around, 13th-ish most of the race, but for him to get a top 10 in a Rick Ware car, I don't care if the next gen brings everybody closer together. I don't care if Rick Ware's gotten better. That's really, really, really impressive. Justin Haley has probably been like we'll give out end of year awards, but I'm sorry, Justin Haley at this point is my underdog of the year award, I think.
he's only 5 points behind Austin Dillon in the standings. But
Anyway,
also, it does seem like Justin Haley made the right decision. The Collin cars were terrible today. Neither of them got a top 30, I do not think. Maybe Derek Kraus snuck in. I know Daniel Hemmer got 30-30. He struggled with power steering all day, but they qualified 34th and 35th, so I don't think he had much more than that.
yeah, so that being said, though, talking about other off-season moves, because you talked about the Michael McDowell move. This isn't in the Cup Series, but a certain somebody is going full-time racing for Vikings Motorsports this year.
Oh, we're doing the fake stories first. Okay. So
Matt DiBenedetto is back, guys. He is back in a weekly touring series, full-time. He's that guy. He's him.
and
He's
you may have seen
here.
once in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race this weekend when they do the through the field thing because he did stay on the lead lap and finish 24th. But no, seriously, in all seriousness, Matt DiBenedetto has elevated that team. They went from struggling to make races to running about 20th every single week. And, maybe eventually by the end of the season, maybe they'll be on par with the other, with Ryan Segan at 39 team. Because, like we said before, when this initially was announced, because this is essentially an RSS racing car, the other cars at RSS Racing have always struggled outside of Ryan Sieg. And Matt DiBenedetto has already kind of exceeded expectations for what those other three cars are supposed to do. He's actually almost caught some of the full-time drivers, such as Haley Deegan and Dawson Cram, in the points. He's only a couple points behind them. And just to talk about Haley Deegan for a second, she's not running as bad as people may think.
No.
She's had some bad luck, but still, I don't think she was ready for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where it's kind of out of her control. The fact is, it's not like, well, first off, if you're a race car driver, you're not going to look, the people trying to push you to the moon and say like, I need to spend more time with the truck series. I need to spend more time in ARCA, this, that, and the third. Like, it's just not going to happen. Haley's getting forced with the pipeline, and look, it's not quite a Danica situation, because Haley has shown much more in a stock car than Danica ever did. But
She's
she
won a race.
is, yeah, I mean, she is unfortunately though being elevated due to circumstances or due to factors that don't have to do with her racing, and that's incredibly unfair, not just to everyone, but especially to her. That sucks. But that being said, to go back to the Cup Series and talk about uh another story there. You talked about the Michael McDowell move, and I think another thing tied to that is what is going on with Stewart Haas Racing and Front Row Motorsports.
Well, now it's actually because originally it was rumored that they would merge, and what I was thinking is, and then we actually texted about this part during the week, but my dad sent me an article and I thought it was fake. We'll get to that in a second because it wasn't, because it was a Daily Downforce article. But
Yeah, Daily
so
Downforce, good work over there.
yeah, shout out Dale Tanhart. You know I like to shout you out. But sorry, that got weird. So what I was thinking is, I was thinking if SHR and FRM merge, I was thinking the sponsorship of the 34 would come over and the full 38 team would come over. And
Yeah,
it does seem like Ryan Preece is the odd man out at Stewart Haas right now. He's not being included in the team meetings. He's the only one that's not shown any speed at any point this season. The other three teams have exceeded expectations, and Chase Briscoe is a potential probable for the playoffs right now. He's
yeah.
the cut driver right now, 6 points ahead of Bubba Wallace. I do think Bubba Wallace will get back in, but I think a guy like Kyle Busch is going to fall out, and Joey Logano's completely lost touch with the cut line battle now.
Wow, right? I mean that like don't get me wrong, like I think I had Joey as a first round exit, but my goodness.
They don't win a
I
race,
do
they're not
think
making.
he's I was gonna say I think he's gonna steal a win, and that's also why I have Kyle Busch in the playoffs and why it actually might be difficult. Like, because now like we have seen a team like the 23 team struggle to put together a full race. So like Bubba's ran well, but if the win isn't there, he might not get it either.
I'm going to make three bold predictions right now, and we can come back to this clip and tell me how stupid I am. Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano will all make the playoffs. Kyle Busch will win at Iowa. Joey Logano will win Richmond in August, and Bubba Wallace will win at Michigan. But so getting back to that, that does concern me about Chris Buescher. And if Chris Buescher does not make the playoffs, that win sticker comment.
Wow, we really do come back to this, and I mean, ooh,
Because he is only
yikes, man.
14 points above the cut line. But by the way, I don't think it's going to be him that falls out. I think it's going to be Ross Chastain. I think Ross Chastain and Chase Briscoe will be the two odd people out if you had to ask me right now. That
You know, we
track
talked about at
loss,
the beginning of the season, Ross Chastain, like sort of, he would find his way to the front, even in races where like he didn't necessarily run there. And I thought like, oh, well, Ross, like I mentioned, like, oh, I think Ross, like, he's gonna luck into some wins here. Like he's gonna win multiple. Like legitimately, Ross Chastain has not been a threat to win in months.
it's been so
So,
weird because, like, for the first four races of the season, Daniel Suarez stole the win in Atlanta, but both of those cars had speed. But ever since then, there's been like no speed. I don't
yeah,
know what. Because even at Phoenix, they both had speed, but it was like after Phoenix, it's just been Ross Chastain got lucky for a couple weeks, but now I think it's finally starting to show up in the one car too, and it's getting worse. At least with Kyle Busch, it's kind of like every other week. One week he's going to show up and run 30th. The next week he's going to be in the top five.
yeah. But
But
that being said, we are on a little bit of a time crunch here. So that being said, let's hop back into the main story that we're kind of going to close on. So like again, it looked like potential SHR and Front Row Motorsports merging. And how did that story evolve, Matt?
well, now it seems like Stuart Haas might be selling all four charters. Um, that's a rumor that's going around now.
I don't
So
think so, but it's
I don't think so either. But now, like, who would they sell those charters to? You have to assume two of them's going to Front Row, and
yeah.
I almost think this would include the merger, but they would just be called like Front Row Stewart or something like that.
I don't know though, because the truth is, I think this is all a lot bigger than just, you know, Stewart having the struggle with Ford, this, that, and the third. This might actually have to do with the ongoing, NASCAR charter battle. This might actually be a leverage play because right now, like the main sticking point with the teams is they want these charters to be permanent and they want the charters to result in a greater like financial stake in NASCAR as a corporate entity. And doesn't seem like NASCAR is going to budge on that. So, you know, Tony and Gene might be kind of sitting back saying like, okay, if we're not going to get our fair share, we're out. Um,
I
like
think the perfect thing for Stewart to do would be sell two of those charters. In this scenario, I'd love for it to be to Dale Jr., because I would love
Yeah.
for Josh Berry to have a place to go. I think Josh
But
Berry.
Junior's definitely not going to do it if we don't figure out a new charter system anyway, because Junior's been pretty Junior's been very smart because he knows what he's doing. He knows by being outspoken against the current charter system and how expensive it is, he knows that matters because the public knowing that, oh, NASCAR is actively keeping the most popular driver of all time from re-entering the sport as an owner. That's actually a lot of public leverage. So, but that being said, yeah, I really do hope it goes to Junior, but it's not.
But I think the perfect scenario for Stuart Haas, because they're showing up with speed some weeks, and it's normally in one car. I think you sell two. You get rid of Josh Berry and Ryan Preece. I really do realistically think Josh Berry would land somewhere. I think Ford would honestly like to keep him, even if Junior doesn't, buy a charter and take him. Because I think if Junior buys a charter, he's taking Josh Berry. But
Yeah,
I think a perfect landing spot for him would be that 21 car because it's getting vacated this year because that's not acceptable anymore. With Harrison
yeah.
Burton. But and Josh Berry does have some sponsorship, so it would help. But I think the perfect scenario is I think you have two possible superstar talents over there at SHR with Noah Gragson and Chase Briscoe. And I think if you could just pump your resources into them, they can be championship contenders again if they downsize.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But that being said, we now leave it to you. First off, what do you think is going to happen with these rumors about Ford in general, but Stewart and SHR? What do you think is going to happen with the NASCAR charter stuff? And what did you think of this past weekend here at Darlington? Because I personally thought this was one of the better finishes in NASCAR history. Like again, kind of like I talked about last week. Not every great finish is a photo finish. This thing was awesome. I don't think it gets much better than this as a NASCAR fan. But that being said, we leave it in your hands. We thank you for watching. That
Man,
being
wait.
said,
Wait. The sponsors.
well,
Forgot.
go quick. We don't have time. We gotta get. I got the
Oh, I got you.
message.
Oh, I know the Zoom thing. Okay, go watch Milan's show on YouTube. Go subscribe to Brie Casso. She made our logo. Go like Terrell's clothing company. Go watch Ken's YouTube. And happy birthday, Emily, again. Outro
And
us.
there we go. All right. I have been Will,
I've been Matt.
and we will see you next week.